what I wanted to do was invite different people on Fridays. First, I'm going to bring out an old friend of mine that a lot of you guys will know. But I want to preface it with this. I have had like 8 businesses, official businesses that go back to maybe the early 90s, and God knows how many ideas, right? Lots of ideas. But one of the areas we can agree that, look, building the business and making money, of course, is job one. It's critical. I mean, and if you're not doing that, nothing else matters, to quote Metallica today, right? Metallica Friday. So nothing else matters. So you got to do this. However, I screwed up a couple times in many ways. And I was talking to Tom, and you guys are going to laugh when you realize who Tom is. But I was talking to Tom about an area that not only I screwed up, but he screwed up. And now I don't sell anything or do anything in this area. And I wanted you guys, I wanted to bring on a guest that could speak to it and, just give you some foundational. And I'm going to have a lawyer on next, you guys. Who asked me that? Paul, next. So, what else? Let's see. Let me write Kent Young really fast. Kent, I wrote you a private message back. Okay. Now, this is a subject that I honestly could care less about most of my life. I'll be really honest. I am 49 and a half, I guess, right now. And I'm going to milk those last 6 months, right? Actually, until May. But asset protection and insurance. Now, I want to bring out my guest. Tom, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Brian?
I hear you good, man. Now, how many of you guys know my friend Tom? Anybody know Tommy Fry? Anybody know him? Let's see. Hey, Nayla, good to see you. Okay, Alan said no. That's interesting. Oh, it's interesting. Doug said familiar. Okay, it's F. Hang on. I'm going to let me bring up a slide so I can speak to Tom. Hang on. So, and I'm going to bring out a second guest too, but I first want to introduce Tommy. Tommy and I owned the car dealer. Now, when I say Tommy and I, it really was Tommy, and I came in late to the picture along with, you guys remember Sid Michael. So Tom, veteran United States Marine, got out eventually, got into the automotive business. He worked for other people for a long time. Tom, I don't remember the whole story, but at one point you opened up your own independent car dealership, and then obviously I joined in with you and we opened a second location. What am I leaving out on that? And if I did, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not a ton, Brian. You and I've got a lot of history together, and the reason that we do is because of the way that we work together, and we've always had that really open, sharing kind of relationship through all the businesses, and we're both very entrepreneurial. And it's funny when you were talking in the beginning about the things that you don't want to do. Well, insurance for me is probably one of the most boring things in the world. Coming out of the very high A personality, with being in the Marines, running my own business, car business, everything's constantly moving and shaking, and we're just all the time just pounding. And one of the crazy things is we push these things aside. So, when you and I were talking, and I explained to you at the time, hey man, I know a lot of things and I do a lot of things well. I'm not trying to be cocky, but I'm pretty good at some of the stuff that I do. But there's, it's smart enough to know. I'm also smart enough to know the things that I don't. Well, I thought I knew the insurance, and I thought I was covered the way I needed to be covered for my business. And
well, tell them what happened to you and I. This is how we realized we didn't know jack shit. Tell them about when those trucks got stolen from the dealership, the black pickup, the 250. I don't know.
Oh my God, we had, it was $150,000 worth of vehicles that were internally sold for cash, and somebody was left holding the bag on those. And it turns out it was Brian and I, and we assumed, because we're in business and we're big boys, that we had the coverage needed to do that. Well, We didn't. We had some coverage, but we didn't have enough coverage.
We covered the lost vehicles out of our own bank account, and
it
stunk, y'all. It was not ideal.
To say it sucked wouldn't even get close.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Brian. You know as well as I do. Us going home and having to explain to our wives that we're writing checks for all this stuff because we didn't cover our bases.
We didn't have the right coverage on our. Now this is one example on the automotive dealership, and we ended up having to shell out. Now, obviously, not everybody in this call is doing automotive, and you're thinking, well, I don't really care about automotive, but all of us have marketing agencies. All of us have some type of small business, and that's where it gets a little crazy. Let me tell you another story. So we had those vehicles stolen, which we recovered, if I remember, Tom, but they were pretty screwed up. I don't know what the guys did.
They were. Yep. They were. We mitigated a little bit of the loss, but for the most part, Brian and I wrote pretty hefty, more money in a check than we both wanted to write, for sure.
Well, so listen to this, you guys. So I have a lot of local marketing clients, a lot of digital clients. So I had a lawyer, this is several years back, 12 or 13, basically sue me because, you ready for this? He interpreted our discussion in our emails in a creative way that was almost like I guaranteed him number one for like 80 terms, and I didn't deliver that. So he sued me, and fortunately, I had bought some business insurance. I had bought some coverage. So one client I got sued by. I have probably been sued 4 times, I guess now, 4 times. And somebody's asking me, they think they remember you. You guys, this is 5 years ago. That's me on the far right. That's Tommy in the middle. And you guys may know Sid Michael on the left. And
that's Battle Frog, dude. That was a great day.
Yeah, this sums up my day. I don't know how great it was at this moment, y'all, but this sums up my day. But listen, it was a critical experience, right? All of us have been there. All of us have done it. Making a mistake of this proportion has hurt me financially. So I know it's boring talking about DBAs, LLCs, S corps, and there's nothing for you to buy here. This is a discussion. I want you guys to realize there's no pitch. This is strategy discussion and framework discussion, and it isn't sexy or cool. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But you know what? When the shit hits the fan, it's really cool to have. It's really good. So
the old saying, Brian, it's never a problem until it's a problem.
Oh, you're right. It never is a problem until you have it.
That's right.
Hey, Nayla, good luck. Have a great class. I'm glad you stopped by. And Nayla, we should get you as a guest sometime. That would be amazing. Listen to this. My friend David Hebert just said, guys, having the right insurance has saved him over $500,000. And we'll have to get David to maybe come on later. But Tommy, we got you guys, Tim Pierson here. And I met Tim through Tommy. Will you introduce Tim? Do you mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tim he is my personal financial advisor, and he is a very good, trusted friend, just like Brian is for me. And I teed Tim up to Brian for the same reason that we're doing this for you guys. I again, not being arrogant, but I'm a smart guy. I know what the hell I'm doing. I don't need somebody telling me. Well, I'm not as smart as I think I am. At least I wasn't in my insurance coverages and my financial planning and things like that. So what I did was I sat down with Tim because he asked me to, and I gave him an opportunity to look at it, thinking the whole time that he's not going to find anything that I need. Well, it turns out I was way out of balance, way overinsured in some things, way underinsured in others. And to me, in my head, it made sense. But by the time everything was said and done, I actually was paying a little bit less in the overall scheme and had better coverages for my business. And Tim, I'm sure he'll talk to you guys about all that stuff. And, there's certain things that I didn't have that didn't protect me. It didn't protect my family. I'll let Tim go into it on a little bit of a higher level, but my unique situation was a little bit different than Brian's, just like everybody's is a little bit different. But the nice thing is there are very affordable opportunities out there for us that work so hard, that don't work for Delta or for Amazon or these big companies, those entrepreneurial people like we are, unless you don't know what you don't know. So if somebody doesn't help you understand, you may be oblivious to what's going on around you, thinking that you're doing the right thing. That was me, 100%. You have to learn through the school of hard knocks. And, I know it drives my wife crazy. You guys may have heard this saying that I tell her I can fly the space shuttle. She goes, "You're an idiot. You can't fly the space shuttle." I said, "Well, if I've got the right people around me, I can." Telling me, "Don't press that button. Don't do this. Don't do that." So, again, we don't know what we don't know. So when you've got somebody that can specialize in something, you don't have to be a subject matter expert in every single aspect, but it's just a matter of building the right team of people around you that can help guide you so that you get the best of everything all the way across the board for you and for your business. So that being said, I'm a big fan of Tim.
Let's get Tim to come out, man. Unmute him if you can.
Tim, are you there?
Hey, how's everybody?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Tim. How you doing? Tim, remind me, just for everybody here, because there's a lot of people here. You're originally from, I know you're here in the greater Atlanta area over by the lake. Now, are you originally from Wisconsin, Minnesota? Which part of the upper Midwest?
I am from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Cheddar is better.
Anybody here from Wisconsin? I know there's some that must be from Wisconsin here. That's hilarious. Yeah, you guys, when I met Tim through Tom, it was kind of funny. I've known him on and off several years now. Tim just got featured in a local magazine. I'm waiting for him to sign my magazine. He and his family are on the cover of the magazine, one of those community magazines, and I've been razzing him about it ever since. But
he's a handsome man.
We got Rico here. Rico is from Madison, and we got anybody else? Anybody? Nope. Two Wisconsins, and I love it. Hey, Tom. Matthew said he's not buying a ticket on that first shuttle ride for you.
Hey, man, I got this covered, brother. Come on. I'm good. Trust me.
All right. We got Rico Suave. We got the only one from Wisconsin on the call. Okay. So, Tim, obviously I've met your wife and your girls and so forth, but what got you into insurance in the whole financial services business?
Well, let me start with saying thank you for setting the bar really low. It's a boring topic, so should be able to accomplish that. I'm grateful.
Wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna make a poll. You talk. I'm gonna set a poll up and see what everybody thinks, because you know what? Sometimes boring is critical. Boring could be the most important thing in your business.
It's critical, and it is boring for a lot of people. What got me into the financial planning side of things, which includes the insurance end, is I was downsized in the 08 recession, depression, whatever you want to call it. And I just looked around and said, why am I working for someone else that can do this to me? Why am I not going out and using my skills that I have in math and other things and helping people in a different way? Because I enjoy helping people. So it's one of those, a friend of mine got me involved. And from there, I ended up purchasing a business. So I've got my own financial planning insurance company. Got a whole team of experts, as Tom had said earlier. You got to know what you don't know. So if I have a need for a specific question to get answered, I got a whole group of people to tap into.
I love it. I love it. No, it's critical. And I did a sneaky, I don't know if you guys can see it. I just slipped up a poll here. And all right, you guys, hey, vote. It's yes or no. And no one's going to call out what you voted. I only got 1/3 of the people voted. There's a lot of people here. All right, you get 15 seconds to vote. And we're going to share the results with Tim. And you know what? It's not the way I would have guessed. I am surprised. We've had over 150 people vote. And I'm going to call it in 4 seconds. In 3, 2, all right, see ya. Here are the results. We got about a half the people here voted. I would have thought it was 80% boring. but it's only 64, which makes me think that people are coming around. Okay. I love it. Well, Tim,
I think people are finding anything that isn't political right now is not boring.
Oh, geez.
Right.
Yeah, that topic. All right. No political. So so insurance. Okay. So I wrote some notes, you guys, on different things that we could kind of ask Tim/grill Tim on. And I took these from a conversation I had with him the other day. Let's see. Yeah, Alan, I promise. No. All right. Now, Doug likes insurance because he sells leads to insurance companies. So here's some of the basics I wrote down, Tim. LLCs, right? Talking about the company. E&O policies, general liability, umbrella. You got your commercial auto. You got your workers' comp. You got cyber policy. You got all these policies. Do you want? Let me see. Did I? Do you want to touch on, maybe one sentence on these so people understand what they are? I know most of them, but I'm not really sure what the cyber policy is. I can guess, but I'm not 100%.
Well, let me give it a run. The LLC, it's one of those things everyone knows an LLC, but not everyone puts their business into an LLC. And by having it into an LLC or some variation thereof, you are making certain that if you get into a problem, that nobody can take your other stuff if they take this business. So it puts a brick wall between you, this business, and all your other stuff, kind of the way to say that. The errors and omissions, I think Brian mentioned it earlier. If you mess up on your job, in my world, financial planning, I can missell a position or do whatever. You may have an error, as Brian hit earlier, and you've got a backstop, and it's very inexpensive insurance. You got a backstop to cover you should you have an unforced error. General liability, real simple, it's just general. Somebody trips and falls on your property, anything of that sort, you're covered.
Okay.
Umbrella policy, that you should have for your business, but absolutely certainly for your personal. You get that with your homeowner's policy, and you can get $1 million umbrella policy for maybe $250, $350, something like that a year. It's ridiculously
really cheap stuff.
Wait a minute, Tim. So let me, because I didn't have that for the longest time. I do now, but so you're saying you own a small business, you own an agency, whether you work out of your home or not, but you have a house, you either have a homeowner or renter insurance. If you add an umbrella, for how much would you get for ballpark on $200-300?
You're get about $1 million.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, so you've got an extra $1 million in coverage for a couple $100.
Hey Tim, just to tee that up a little higher, just so you guys know, when we added our pool and everything to our place, Brian,
yeah,
it made me nervous. So we added the umbrella, and I was like, oh man, it's going to be crazy. Well, the first $1 million is the most expensive. I've got $3 million, and it's like $380 a year, is what I've got.
Tim, I feel like a claim could be coming. And no, I'm just kidding.
It's going to be you falling in my pool.
Yes, yeah, right. You guys, can you see this? 60% have LLC or a corp, and 38% do not. So majority do, but a very large minority don't. Any quick benefits you would call out on that, Tim? Just from, we've talked about it before here in the group, but just from your perspective, maybe an advantage that plays that you may see from your business that's different than us.
I see from the investment side. I'll share a specific example of people that have investment properties. So this can be your business, but investment properties. If one of your renters sues you, you can lose all of your properties and your personal stuff if you don't have an LLC. That's kind of ridiculous risk that you can avoid. And it's just a simple risk management thing. And an LLC is one of the easiest things you can do. You can do it online. You can go to an attorney, whatever direction you want. But doing it with an attorney is only like $300-400.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be smart. If you plan to make millions, You need to be very wise. I can't tell you how many times I probably have made 60 LLCs over the years, and most I didn't do much with. Guess what?
Right.
But I was protected and I was set up right if I did. No, I love it. I love it.
Brian, that could be that's a big number of people that don't have LLCs. And as simple as that is to go online and for $199, we could do one of these learn and lunch things just to share with the folks that don't have LLCs if they wanted someday, and just walk through what that looks like. I mean, it's so easy. Within 45 minutes, you can have an LLC, an EIN number, and a state tax ID number, and everything ready to go.
Yeah, you guys, it is super, super easy. You know what? Just since I asked that question, we asked if insurance was boring, and it was lower than I thought. I'm impressed. I'm just curious. I threw one last one up. Do you have insurance? And while you're answering that, I will do this. I will do a screen. How do I do it? I will do a webcam. Share my webcam. I am looking at. Is it not working? Is my webcam on? It should be there. I bet it. You don't see it, Tom?
I don't see you.
All right. Do you guys see me or no? Maybe I'm not. Okay. All right. I'll stop the webcam. I was going to show you. I actually have like 8 insurance policies sitting on my desk that are renewing different kinds of policies. And this one I'm holding, Tim, is actually the provider is Southern Insurance Company of Virginia. I don't know much about them, but I have a bunch of policies apparently with them. So, all right, I'm going to shut it down, y'all. And this looks like about 100.
I know someone that can give you a quote on those.
Yeah, right. So looks like about 1 out of every 5, if you can see that, has some kind of insurance for your business. Now, don't get scared or intimidated. You heard Tom drop a number on how easy it was to set your LLC up. I promise you, at reallocating money you're spending on learning and training to setting up your business right is never a bad investment because you're investing in yourself. Same thing with the insurance. I sure don't know what anybody needs. I barely know what I need, right? But this number should be flip-flopped at a minimum, you guys. So when you look at this and you figure out, and everybody needs something different. The ones that are killing it need obviously different things than the ones that are brand new. Even when you're new, there are massive value. Okay, so Tim, what I did, I just took notes on our conversation. Anything else on this slide that you wanted to talk about? And then I'm getting a bunch of questions come in, and you guys, we're going to shift into your questions, but I made a bunch of notes so that I would have something to talk about when we were on the call today.
Well, you mentioned cyber policy. Let me hit that real quickly. If you do anything online, in particular, storing any customer information, personally identifiable information, PII, if you do anything of that sort, you have to have a rider on cyber policy on your general liability insurance policy. You get hacked, you get ransomware, you get whatever, this covers you. You don't have it, you know what? Your business is going to close. You're going to go broke because you're on the hook for it. So in this day and age, if you do anything where you have customer information saved, you have to have this.
And hey Tim, if I'm not mistaken, and Brian, I'm going to say this to you too. There are attorneys that focus specifically on cyber issues now because it's a big market. Just like you got the guys that go after the big truck wrecks, the ambulance chasing guys. You got these attorneys that specialize in nothing but cyber, and there's a reason for it. It's a big market, and they know they can get big settlements out of it.
Wow. Oh, sorry, Paul Boyce. Do you see him up there? I got him up there. I didn't see it in time. So thanks, Crazy Eagle. Yeah, I try to keep it. Is the poll down? Is that what's blocking things? I didn't realize the poll was blocking you guys. I'm sorry. Because it's not blocking on my end. I think I got rid of it. Okay, so ballpark me, Tim, is cyber policies, because I don't even know if I have one, is cyber policies based on revenue or risk of the business type? How does that work, and what does it typically cost? Yeah, and you don't, I'm not holding you to it. I'm just ballparking.
Yeah, typical costs are all over the board, so I can't give you that, but I can tell you it's based on your risk level. So me being in the financial services industry, we've got all sorts of, from social security numbers to account numbers to, I mean, just all sorts of stuff. So we're a likely hackable target. So I pay a little bit more than somebody that's in a different business. But as Tom said, there's a whole bunch of industries they're going after. The hackers are actually going after aggressively because they can get the information, sell it, and then the attorneys come in right after. I think I'm paying like $300, $400 a year. And again, I'm at a higher risk.
Let me ask you that. Let me give you a specific example. There are a bunch of ambulance chasing attorneys going around hitting small businesses over compliance with the American Disabilities Act, and they're suing, saying the website isn't compliant, right? And it doesn't meet the needs as covered by the ADA for visually impaired people, right? And is that the kind of insurance that would, okay, so let me give you an example. I build websites for customers. I built, I don't know, 70 websites, and next year in 21, four of my customers get sued for that. Would a cyber policy protect me for that, or is it more about hacking?
Good question. I'd have to get with my experts and get into that. It's fairly new stuff, fairly in depth, and every carrier covers some portions and specifically writes out others. So what we do is we take a look at it and say to you, this is what you need. Let's find the carrier that covers that, and then go backwards.
Okay, blend that in. Okay, so imagine you're an advertising company and you're doing marketing work for other businesses. Let's say you're doing marketing work for insurance guys, right? What would E&O cover? What would errors and omissions cover? What does that protect you from,
Well,
I guess?
I think that would be the type of thing that you hit on. Very good example where somebody thought they were getting.
I was thinking E&O might be the other one.
No, it's any errors that you make. Again, I don't know your industry well enough, but any errors that you would make, and part of the error can be you not being specific enough to the client on what the deliverable is, and them suing you.
Think about what he just said. How many times is it reasonable to expect, put a 1 in the Q&A, if you think it's possible somebody could say your service order or your contract, your agreement wasn't specific, they got mad later and then decided to sue you? Do you think that could happen? Just put a 1. And I'm going to tell you, while you're deciding on a 1 or a 2, if you don't think it'll happen, it's happened to me several times. And I've always settled and dealt with it, but it happens most with lawyers. Second most with people that got themselves in some kind of hot water and they're looking to blame somebody, and you're an easy target. So just be aware of that, okay? Yeah, a lot of 1s. Hell yeah, a lot of 1s. Rory gave me oh yeah, a lot of 1s. There's probably 100-odd 1s for sure. All right, yeah, Christy asked an interesting question. Is it better to just have a verbal agreement? You know what, Christy, let's save that. I have a lawyer that agreed to come on, a business attorney. Let's save that for him, because I want to ask Tim insurance-y kind of stuff, you guys. So Tim, talk about a buy-sell agreement. I wrote this down when we were sitting around talking about, you guys, you ever had a business partner? Anybody had a partner before? Put a yes in the Q&A. And if you don't have a partner, you never had a partner, put no. And then let's let Tim weigh in on that. And I want to understand more about that whole buy sell.
You can see on there some of the pluses for each side of the buy sell agreement. But basically, buy sell is if there's multiple owners. Buy sell is a legal document. So you are going to get this done through an attorney. The part that I would help with is funding it. And that's through a life policy, maybe a disability policy, or some combination thereof. The problems that people bring upon themselves with buy-sell agreements tend to be they don't fund them. They do this beautiful legal document, but they never fund it. Or they put a dollar value in, and as the business grows, the buy-sell stays where it is. And a example of that is these four guys put $250,000 each into a business, started up, got $1 million business. After a few years, it's now a $2-3 million business, and one of the guys dies. But the buy-sell agreement had the $1 million startup value. So his widow got $250,000 instead of what should have been the $3 million valuation. So it's a living, breathing document that you have to keep updated. You may use formulas, not specific dollars, and you have to have it funded.
Okay. I love it. All right. Any questions, you guys? And we're going to do open questions in a minute, but I wrote notes down. Dorn asks, Tim, do you suggest a percentage? How is valuation established? What do you do on those kind of questions?
You can use some software like Biz Equity is a website. You can value your business and get a reasonably close number. There's other sites as well. You can use a business valuation service. It's interesting. There's a stat. There's only 2% of the small businesses, that have actually done a valuation. So the majority have not.
Yeah, I have not. That's interesting.
So, and if you have a trail of doing a valuation year after year after year, or every third year, or whatever you do, then it's going to show that pattern. So if you get into a legal fight, you're going through divorce, where he or she wants more than you want to give them. You've got that trail of saying, here's the value of the business. Instead of their side bringing in some astronomical number, saying, nope, that's what it is.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought about it. I probably needed one of these before. Definitely needed one. Any other? Okay. Yeah, right. I mean, it's crazy, you guys. The kinds of things that happen sound like they're never going to happen until they do. I mean, I don't know how to tell you any other way. That's been my experience. If you had asked me if some dude would cut through our car dealership, all the protection we had, and rip off vehicles, I'm like, possible, but extremely unlikely. Tom, how many times did we have theft in the year and a half that I was involved with you?
I'd say 3 or 4 different times. It's a couple times that we had tailgates missing, which are crazy, and we had a couple cars stolen, and then we had the big deal. But yeah, I mean, it definitely happens, man.
Guys, it's pretty big. Now, another one, you guys, I wrote down, this won't apply to everybody, but it's an interesting discussion. Tim, talk to me about the whole key employee. Now, this is a kind of insurance, right? Can you break this one down? I didn't do a good job on notes on this, but if you can help me on that, that would, I don't want to miss it.
It's actually a fairly simple thing. It covers the business should your key employee die, and you can actually be the key employee. What I always say to people is take a look around your business. Who's the face of the business? Who's the top performer? Who will customers follow? Not follow. If that person dies, our customer is going to leave because that was the reason they're there. Whoever that person is your key person. And all you're doing is you're covering the business should they die, right? So you have to get their permission, and you write a life insurance policy on them that if they die, now you have some cash to cover training, expenses, profit, whatever you need to do. But it keeps your business afloat while you're finding somebody to replace them. Or if it's for you and it's your business, be a key man insurance, and it covers maybe your spouse unwinding the business and still having some income.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you two related questions to that. So one example, let's say it's a husband wife. Let's say the husband is the main revenue generator in the agency. He or she's well, in this case, he is getting the clients and doing the actual work. And let's say the wife runs pay, HR, that aspects. But if the husband dies, obviously the revenue stream stops in this example. Would that insurance work in a husband-wife situation or no?
Yeah, that'd be perfect. You can put it in any combination. Husband-wife is very, very logical, and most that work together should have it. Because in one case, the business is going to shut down, or the other, now I got all this HR and other stuff that I got to hire someone to do. So any position like that where there's two or more people, theoretically, and you need to cover for whatever period some lost revenue or recruiting expenses or whatever, it's just an easy thing to do.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a good one. And Brenda, I saw yours. Give me a second on that and I'll write you back. Darcy asked Tim, is it similar to, and I don't know what this is, but is it similar to captive insurance?
Well, if I'm understanding correctly, a captive insurance agent is one that writes only just with one company. So that maybe I might have a different definition of what you're looking for.
I didn't know what the word meant, but yeah, okay. So I got this one I wrote down, you guys. This is just stuff, a mix of insurance and other related stuff. So with my company, I had a simple IRA, top right corner, y'all. Now, the reason I did this initially is it was easy, right? It was just really, really simple. But I will tell you, and if you're not crushing it yet, that's a great one that's easy to manage and maintain. But remember, I'm not a planner. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything. However, I changed when my income got way out of hand. I ended up changing, and I'm actually doing more of a pure 401k defined benefits plan now, which is a whole different topic. But so Tim, talk about, I guess this is more financial, I guess, than insurance, but so you got an IRA / a 401k, a solo 401k. Is there one you'd recommend for people at the beginning or people that are doing okay but not amazing? How do you decide which one is best for which person?
It's kind of the same thing with the insurance. We have to know a lot more than just what the revenues are. In general, my way of doing it is I'm going to do a full financial plan and figure out what you need for retirement and go through that whole process to get to the simple answers like this. But in general, it's how much do you have? Do you want to put money in for your employees or not? If you're looking at it,
right? Yep.
Yep. So if you have no employees, solo 401k is amazing. Very easy to operate, simple. The simple and SEP IRAs, those are also very easy to operate. A little bit more work as far as you may have to throw some money in for your employees and things of that sort.
Let's find out. I'm just curious, you guys, how many of you, if you have no employees, I won't make a poll, put a 1 in. If you have employees, put a 2. And by employees, in this case, I mean W-2. I don't mean people in the Philippines. I don't mean periodic 1099. I mean W-2. So 1 if you have no employees, 2 if you have employees. This is just it gives us a flavor. Looks like I'm going to do an unscientific analysis of this. I will say, Brenda, I love it. I would say 95%, maybe 97% no employees. Majority are single solo operator. Brenda said, I have no employee but my husband. So it's you and your husband. So in general, I see Rusty's got employees, Erica, Crazy Eagle's got employees, David Hebert I know has employees, Dorn has employees. The vast majority of you is no. So when it's no, it's an easier decision because now you're not worried about matching monies to a bunch of people. It's probably an easier discussion for you, I imagine, Tim.
Way easier. Yep.
What's a
It's just
SERP?
how much do you want to put in.
Stock away? Yeah, I have no idea. All right, you got to tell us what a split dollar plan and a SERP is.
Well, the SERP is a supplemental executive retirement plan. The split dollar plan, these are both insurance related.
Okay.
The SERP, you get a promised benefit when you retire. So it's kind of like a pension. These are a little bit more complicated, and these are ones that we don't use very often, but they're there. The one that we use way more often is the executive bonus. If you don't mind me hitting that.
Yep. I missed it. Hang on. I wrote it down. Hang on. You guys, I skipped executive bonus accidentally. All right.
Yeah, this one for the handful of people that have employees, this one is outrageously good. This one allows you to retain a top employee and make sure you're building a wall between between them and your competition. They aren't going to go anywhere else. You get a permanent life policy that they are going to use in retirement as a pension. If in the interim they die, the spouse or their beneficiary gets the death benefit. So they're building up cash value all the years they're working with you. Their spouse is really happy because they're covered should something happen. And you get the immediate tax deduction for a bonus that gets paid for them to cover the policy.
Interesting. Okay. I've never.
Yeah, it's really fantastic.
So, hey, Vanessa, are you on the call? Awesome. All right, she's not here. You guys, this could be something I could do with Vanessa. I could create some kind of. Yeah, I knew. Don't worry, I knew.
All of a sudden, Vanessa shows up, Brian.
Yep. Hey, you guys want to know how it works? That's how it works, right there. Straight up. This is the great.
She's like, I'm going nowhere, Brian. I'm staying right here.
Vanessa said, "Yeah, I was gonna quit, Brian, until you did this, but no, I do." You guys, I do something like this with Vanessa. I have like a profit sharing deal, and that spans all of our revenue. So our agency, our affiliate, our e-com, that spans everything. Because she's my number, don't tell her, I know she's listening, but she's my number one person. She's awesome. And so I have to reward her and protect myself that I would have to go build another Vanessa, which takes a lot of time and work, right? So I've got it designed in a way that does that. But this sounds like a great idea. I wasn't even familiar with this, Tim, on how it works, but I get it. So I get an immediate tax deduction, which is kind of awesome. And I understand the back end on it. That makes sense.
And the only downside to the employees, they're paying taxes on that bonus that you gave them to buy the policy. That's it.
All right, well, let's do this because there's so many people with questions. And Darcy, I just read that, and I agree. All right, so I'm going to do this, you guys. I'm going to take your questions, and what I'll do is I'll make a slide, right? And we'll keep this. This will be real. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a slide, and I'm going to take a question and just smack it on the screen here. All right. Let me find. Okay. All right, I'm going to do, this is one from Dorn. And Dorn, I'm going to pick on yours because it was the first one I saw. Dorn's asking about self-directed 401ks. And I don't know a lot about that, but I'm familiar with what they are. Could you speak to that, Tim? Do you guys do that kind of work, or do you know anybody that you recommend that does that kind of work?
No and no. Self-directed means just that you're directing yourself. You can do things in a self-directed 401k with collectibles and other things that I can't do. So I can do just the classic versions. You have a little bit more flexibility on your own.
Yeah. So think about why, you guys. So the reason you and I could do more when it's our own stuff is Tim has licenses and rules and restrictions on him, whereas none of us do, right? If we choose to go put all our money in Bitcoin and go 100% or do options that mature in 3 days, yeah, so be it, right? But if Tim did that, he'd be in a world of hurt, I think.
Yeah, I've got a fiduciary responsibility.
That's kind of like doing surgery on yourself, in my opinion, just so you guys know. I'm out.
Yeah, right. Connie Hagen, yes, and thank you for being here, Connie. Yeah, you guys, a very select amount of people. I will give you a good example. About 4 months ago, and I'm not going to name any names, I have a friend that was hitting some singles with options, singles and doubles. He was making some money, and I threw him $7,500, right? I threw him $7,500, and I said, it's not going to hurt me if it doesn't work. But if it does work, it's awesome. Now, I'm going to tell you how that went for Brian. I'm going to be real honest. Matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that I am down 91%. 91%. See, I had 7,500 roughly, and I've lost 6,800. I now have $644 left. So
damn it, Sid. Oh, did I say that out loud?
No, it's okay.
I just took a stab in the dark, Brian. Sorry.
Sid may or may not be involved, but no, he's a good dude. Sid's a great dude. But the guy that I was doing this with, you know what? I knew going in, and I wanted exposure to risk. Now, Tim is not going to take my money and put it into very short duration options, right? He's not going to do that. That's not a model that's going to work well for somebody like him. However, you guys, of course, can do that kind of stuff. You could do real estate. You can do all kinds of things. It's probably not. This is what I tell myself, and I'm going to be the next question. So, and it's less of a question than a statement. So, when I analyzed my financial life, right? This is what I got. This is what I saw. Let's see. All right. Risk in my core business, right? I had risk in my affiliate business. And by risk, I mean a lot more than if I was a W-2 at IBM, right? And I had risk in my e-com business. So when I saw all this, and I was honest with myself at the level of risk that I was exposed to, because I'm definitely more of a risk taker. I will admit that. I'm a big boy. I could admit those things. I immediately did this, right? This is where my head went. Make sure I got rid of the shade here. Okay. I did this. So I have 401k, formerly a simple IRA. I did defined benefits, defined benefit plan. This is like a pension for solo or, very small company business owners, trying to stock money, right, to save for the end, for the end date, right? But I also did this, and some of my core friends that are W-2 kind of guys made fun of me, but it's all right. I don't need their validation while they drive in their car to their cube or to their office. I have a whole life insurance policy. I guess I should be plural. I have a plural, and there's probably some other stuff. Then I have some stock. I have real estate. I recently bought a house right near Tom and Tim, so we've been hanging out more. And I have, the usual investments like investments, mutuals, etc. Right? So I had all this risk in my core business. My 401k is probably less risky than some. My investments in general were less risky. My real estate is in a stable area. I just knew I needed to balance the risk in my core. So I did this whole life thing, which I know a lot of people are negative on, right? and that's okay. Everybody has to be the CEO of their life and their business. But for me, this gave me this guaranteed, and Tim, I know you're not allowed to weigh in on these kind of things, but it gave me like a guaranteed safe option where I put money. And so when I do retire one day and I want to take money out of my stock retirement accounts, if the market's down, I'll just pull out of my cash insurance policy and I won't pull out of the market. So I don't have to crush myself, right? I have a more elaborate system than this. This is just really quick, but analyze the risk is what I would suggest to you. Analyze the risk in your business, in your life, and don't build a retirement or a future on 100% risk. You can't be in options in crypto. Your entire nest egg cannot be in options in crypto, guys. You have to balance the risk. You ever want to have a good discussion? If you're on a webinar with Jeff Hershey, tell Jeff I told you to bring it up. He'll weigh in, and he's really smart on how he mitigates his risk using the whole life policies. He taught me a few things that were really genius. So, Tim, I know for you, and I know no insurance person's allowed to say a whole life can be an investment, but can you speak to whole life versus term in terms of like insurance, just as an insurance perspective?
Yeah, I can. And first I'd say exactly to your point, don't go in with preconceived notions, because there's a lot of tools, whether it's annuities, term, whole life, universal, whatever. There's a lot of stuff out there that could really be perfect for you, that if your friend talks it down and you don't want to use it, you might be missing out on a big deal. The term policy, just hit your question, term policy is the cheapest, most cost-effective way to buy insurance, because you're buying it for a very specific number of years, 10, 20, up to 30. So once it hits that time frame, if you're not dead, you've lost all your money. It's kind of like car insurance. If you don't use it, you really didn't want to use it, but you're glad you had it. Whole life, which comes in a whole bunch of different flavors, universal, all sorts of different names that they come up with, it's a permanent insurance. You will pay, in most cases, forever. A lot of cases now, though, you can pay for a certain amount of years, and then the cash value that grows in a separate account, it grows and grows and grows, and you can fund policy payments going forward, or you can, as Brian said, you can use that, and we use it quite often to act as a pension, kind of like one of the tools we talked about before, where say you're 50, you pay in till you're 65, and now you're starting to draw it out as a pension. So we can actually factor that in there and tell you how much you're going to get. So we're building a very, very diverse income source for you from your 401k or IRA, from your pension, from your insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So we always want you to have more than one source of income in retirement.
I love that. No, and somebody, a wisecracker, definitely a wisecracker, a well-known and trusted wisecracker, said he had bought a 10-year term and he was so pissed that it didn't pay off before he expired, before the policy expired. Yes, Darcy Hall for the win, Mr. Stella, David Perkins. Yeah, we'll have a recording, you guys. This is just chill. We're hanging out. Totally chill. And Ryan, glad you're here, buddy. Ryan Wagelman. Let's see. I'm going to take a question. Let me find it. All right. This is something, and I don't know how much you're allowed to comment on this one. This is from Leon. Hey, Leon, thanks for putting that one out there. Leon Williams made a comment. He likes overfunded life I don't even know what an IUL is. He likes overfunded life contracts using an IUL.
Index Universal Life, great tool. It's just like any other one of the policies. You have to figure out if it's right for you. But an Index Universal Life, it's there. It's a permanent life policy, and the cash portion of it will grow or decline depending on how it's written based on whatever index. So it could be the S&P 500 or some other. But absolutely a great tool. He is correct.
Okay. No, it's awesome. And thanks for sharing, Leon. All right, let's see. So, okay, here's a good example. It's back to LLCs, and Tony, I see it, Tony. Tony Jones is asking about protection in reverse for that LLC. Does an LLC work in reverse? So if Tony was doing work in his business, Tim, and someone didn't sue his business, they sued Tony Jones and said, is he protected because he actually did the work through his business? I think that's what he's trying to ask here.
Yeah, that's a legal question, better for your next guest, but yes is the answer.
We'll defer, Tony, to the biz attorney that's coming on, Jason. I think I should shut my mouth and let the attorney answer that. I'm not trying to pass the buck, but nobody wants the wrong answers ever. Let's see. All right. Hang on. Oh, Leon said, well, I'm glad that Tim thinks so. I was the agent who wrote the policy. I cut out commission. I made that policy better. Yeah, that's awesome, Leon. Gord Young also outlived his term insurance. Gord, I'm glad you're here. Here's another, Brenda out on the West Coast. Practical question. Guys, I bet you've thought about this, what she's saying. So she's talking about multiple corporations for different business units. And I think it's one, the easy answer is ask your attorney, but I'll give you the I am not an attorney answer. I have 5 or 6 different internet businesses, right? I have 2 LLCs that control all that. This is 4 to 6 million in revenue on these 2 across the 5 for the 2 LLCs. Now I have them structured in a certain way because I asked my attorney. So I would Brenda, save this one and we'll get Jason to answer it. But like all attorneys, he will probably pass the buck and tell you to ask your attorney. But you and I having a beer and chatting, I would tell you that one LLC is probably enough right now without getting extra LLCs and stuff like that. It creates a tax nightmare. It's got all these other implications. Okay, so here's a good one, Tim. And I think the answer, I have to be honest, Tim, the answer to a lot of these questions is, right, I think this is the fair answer. You need to talk to Tim at length on a personal level. I think the reality is me asking you some of these questions, it's an it depends answer, right? It depends so often. Most of these questions I'm seeing, the answer is not the same for Brian as it is for Gord as it is for Leon. Is that fair to say?
That is 100% correct.
Yeah, so I'm going to put you on the spot. That's my new thing, is now putting people on the spot. Would you be willing, and I know not everybody even lives in Georgia, and I don't even know how all the insurance stuff works, but if people wanted to chat, reach out with an email or a call, can I put your phone number or your email up here?
Yeah, you can do that. Always happy to help people. Even if you're in a different area and there's nothing I can help you with, we can talk it through.
See, and that's
firm believer in paying it forward.
Tim's a solid guy. Tim, I have a bunch of numbers and emails. I'll let you just text me or have Tom text me the one to put up there so I don't misspeak. While you're doing that, I want to ask a question. All right, here's a good one from Rory. Man, it's a good one. It's kind of insurance, Tim. It's about health insurance. This is Rory Russell, and Rory said, does Tim know of a reputable company who does health insurance for self-employed? And I think reputable, and I'm going to add in, and affordable. I think that was the other word we wanted. Reputable and affordable. And it may not exist, right?
I'm gonna say that depends on where you're at. We have a person that does Medicare and personal health, and it really, really depends where you're at as to the companies that write in your area. Yeah, what state and what county, believe it or not. So wow. It's a person or county by county story, and she has a hard time finding insurance for some people in certain areas. There may be just one carrier that does that county.
Tim, is this a mobile or is this a landline that I have?
That is my mobile. I just texted you a work line.
Oh, yep, sorry.
They can have that too. No, they can have that too. That's fine.
You guys, just in the interest of fairness, we'll be straight up. Tom gave me that number, so I blame Tom 100%. And
Tim's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't care. He's a good guy. He don't care.
And look, email him as well. And this is personal, so I'm not giving you business stuff, you guys. I have his personal email. And if you want somebody to chat with, especially somebody who doesn't even live in your town, it may be somebody worth talking to. I'm going to leave this on the screen while I fire questions at you. Another one was, let's see. Rory's up in Indiana, Lake County. Okay, Daniel Rodriguez, excellent. And Daniel, shoot me some stuff. I'm going to gather, you guys, you know what I'm going to do? I think that's such a good question from Rory. I am going to gather on the health insurance side. I will pull 5 to 6 agents, gather up suggested coverage, or what would you call it? Suggested carriers for small business peeps, and I'll share them out with you guys. I can tell you
on that line, just to really quickly add, I went with one of the Christian organizations, Liberty Health Share.
Which one do you use?
Liberty Health Share.
That's
fantastic, reasonable price.
Guys, I use the same one that Tim does, and I didn't even know that, Tim. So, Tom, you're probably. I don't think Tom has this issue.
No, my wife works for. She's a director for Anthem Healthcare, so I'm good.
Yeah,
I don't have that problem.
So Liberty is. I was only paying $450 a month. I think it's now like $650 a month. It's gone up a little bit, but it's
that's a family.
Good. Yeah, that's for my whole family, and then I have, I think it's like a $1,500 deductible, but it's not bad. It's slow to get payments reimbursed, but you know what? I'm good with it. It's not that slow, and it's fine for me.
And everybody has my contact information, so if you do that, you can put me as a referral.
Yeah, you guys, if you do look at it, give Tim's name at the very least. I mean, it's a good policy. It's as good as you get in America if you are a small business or uninsured and you need something affordable. I know Ron Douglas. I know like 100 internet marketers that use it as well. I first heard about it from an attorney in my town, and he swore by it, and he's been there a couple years. Is it perfect? No. Does it somehow walk the line between it works while staying affordable enough to use? I think so. So another question, Tim, if I could, is what are the parameters to get an umbrella policy? Let's say guys want to get an umbrella policy. What are the parameters?
It's really easy. The key thing is you're going to have a homeowner's insurance or renter's policy. Then you talk to your insurance person and say, I want an umbrella.
Yep. So do you do umbrella? And I know that I hadn't talked to you about umbrella, but do you do umbrellas?
We have, I personally don't. We have an insurance agency right in here that we've got. He does home, auto, small business, all of that. And that's one of the key things we make sure that he focuses on, because it is such a lifesaver if something happens.
That's such a good thing you just said. Is it fair to say that most agents or agencies, specialization, right? So is it fair that some people do auto, health, and home, others do insurance, term, whole, and what else would be a breakdown? I bet this guy does disability too. What else is a breakdown on that, from an education standpoint?
I think it depends on where they're coming from, which company they're with. But yeah, you're right. The auto home is going to be one guy. Small business is going to probably be somebody else. It's a different set of tools. The life and long-term care typically is somebody else. So it just kind of breaks down either what their staff can handle, what their expertise is, or quite honestly, where they're making the most money, where they want to go.
Where does Medicare fall? Since I'm 49, I don't know a ton about Medicare, but does it fall under the first group or the second group?
The Medicare is actually a group all unto itself. We have a Medicare person because we live in an area that is a little bit older than average. But she does crazy amounts of business, October 1 through December 7th or whatever it is. That is her expertise. And then the rest of the year, basically, she'll work with small business owners like this group and find them individual policies. Or individuals that fall off from their company or need to retire early or whatever.
Here's a good one, Tim. Rick, thank you for Rick. Am I okay to share? I guess you're asking me to ask him. So he said, I'm currently in assisted living. I got out of my apartment. Do you think I need some sort of renter type insurance until I'm recovered enough to go back to a new apartment? So he's currently in an assisted living facility and he's going to transition back to an apartment.
I would say this: renter's insurance is so cheap, you're silly not to have it. If you cause something at any place you're at, you're going to pay. My daughter was in a dorm at college. I had renter's insurance for her. She moved to a house, renter's insurance. Now she's in an apartment in Atlanta area, renter's insurance.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the structure is. If you're living there, you should insure it, because somebody trips and falls and it's in your room, or somebody starts a fire, you're responsible.
And it's crazy cheap too, Tim. You're not talking about, an outrageous amount of money for what little bit of coverage somebody would need just to make sure they're protected there.
Yeah, you're talking maybe $150 for a year. I mean, it's ridiculously low price for the comfort it can provide you.
All right, so I love it. Robert said, ooh, this is a good one. Robert said, Tim, is there an insurance that would protect you if an employee was to sue you or the company? Is that like a general liability commercial policy?
I think that's a 44 Magnum.
Yeah, 44 Magnum, geez.
Yeah, I think it's gonna depend on what it is. Most likely it's going to be your general liability. Yeah, most of those will cover sexual harassment and things of that sort, workplace issues. Most of those will cover that, but it can be. That's where you got to look in real closely to the policy and what you may need, because some policies will exclude certain things, and if you look at it and say that's important to me, then you got to go to a different company.
Okay, nice. All right, let's see. So another one is, yeah, Laura, I wanted you to know, and I said the same thing. Laura, I live real close. First thing that came through my mind was what you said, but that's the back context on it. And so Tim, who's in insurance also up in Minnesota. Tim, Minneapolis, right?
No. Wisconsin.
Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, I got another Tim. We got Tim Pierson here. Timothy P. Oh my God, he's a Tim P. also. He
Awesome.
is in insurance up in Minnesota. He said in many cases, guys, it's smarter or cheaper if you have auto and renters with discounts at the same carrier.
Correct.
Yep. There's two Tim P's. Now, how's that for me?
Yeah. Anytime you can bundle, whether it's your insurance, and honestly, even your investments, the more you have, the lower the price.
Patrick Edwards, I think you're right. Let me save it for the lawyer. I totally agree with you. Yeah, it makes total sense. All right. So what about is there, if you have a new, I'm going to put you on the spot, Tim Pierson, since I now have two Tim insurance people here. Tim Pierson, if you're a newer business, right? Let's say you're somewhat new, your revenue is low. What's the absolute one policy, this is from a business perspective, that you think somebody should have? Like, you know they need more. However, there's the one that you always say they need first. Like, if you had to, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Is there one thing that they're gonna want before they go further? Is it the umbrella, or is it a general liability, or is it maybe something different?
Depends on what line of work they're in. Probably your general liability is going to be the most important first thing you're going to get. Then from there, you may add the cybersecurity rider. You may get into the if you have your if your automobile is either tagged with your company name or it's owned by your company, you got to get insurance on that. Different things like that you really got to take a look at your personal situation. And like you said before, it depends. But general liability most likely is going to be the first one.
I love it.
Because everyone should already have umbrella insurance through their homeowner's policy.
And Petticourt, you're getting some shout outs. Cynthia mentioned, Tim, something called EPLI. I don't know what it is. EPLI, for some protection from.
That's employment practices liability insurance, Brian. That's what I was going to chime in on that. When I was with Zurich, we used to have that as part of the insurance that we would do. So it's practices that employees do. I didn't want to step on Tim at the time, but that's what is employment practices liability insurance.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. There's so many things. Here's my thought. There are more things that I don't know about insurance than I do know. Like, on a personal level, I have insurance, I have term, I have whole life, I've got an umbrella now, I've got vehicle and homeowners and renter. I've got all the various policies, but there are so many things that I really don't know. Like, I didn't understand Keyman. I definitely didn't understand that executive strategy that you talked about. I did not understand the cyber. I need to understand that versus E&O. I really do think the takeaway, I'd zip, if you got questions, don't send them to me, because I'm just going to send them to Tim. Zip him an email with any questions. I know there's people, I've got about 5 people saying, hey, don't read my name out loud. Let me do this. For those of you saying that, just zip him an email. He'll write you back. Shoot it into that email, and he'll square you away and either help you or point you to somebody that will help you. The health insurance thing, a lot of people weighed in on the Liberty Healthcare. There was another one that somebody said that he used, and I want to say it was like Good Samaritan. No, Kurt said Samaritan Ministries. He says it's great to look at also. Those general type programs have really emerged to fill a gap, you guys. So it's definitely worth looking at some level. Amy Blaine said she uses Liberty as well. Dr. Michael said, are prenups considered insurance? You know, Michael, some level, I suspect they may be. I'm not even touching that. So let's see. Okay, here's an interest. Oh, that's an interesting question. Rory said, Brian, do you keep customers' personal information, or is it in instant reply? So in instant reply, yes, I have customers' email lists. So what does that mean? And yes, I have insurance to protect, a pretty big policy to kind of protect that. I promise you, even though you might use our company as a vendor, if somebody's going to sue you, they're going to sue you first and then probably try to sue any other people you work with. If it goes the legal route, you having some kind of policy is going to be a smart move, you guys. Even if they eventually go after somebody else, you'll be the first one hit, is kind of how it goes. Tom, you could speak to that. You've been sued.
But think of this, if you will, before Tom gets it. If you download documents and you don't clear that download file, that's now on your computer forever. So if somebody gets in, you may not have stored that stuff intentionally, but it's in your download file.
Yeah, there's so
pretty
many
easy to
cool
take.
things like that.
And dude, let me tell you, all this stuff, this is stuff that I sat down with Tim, myself, and went through. And, I learned a lot of this stuff. Again, you don't know what you don't know. And I'm dealing with people's information all the time. I didn't think twice about it. Who the hell's going to hack my stuff, right? Well, if it happens, I'm the one on the hook. So it's not very expensive, and it's got that little bit of a peace of mind. It's just, checking the boxes. I've worked really hard to prepare my business for where I'm at, and I want to take it to the next level and want to keep what I make. I don't want to share it with somebody else because I did something stupid. So the little bit of money, and I mean the little bit of money that I spend to mitigate the risk is not, it's really not that much.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you guys, I happen to put a face with a name. Actually, Tim, you're going to laugh at me. I found a 10-year-old picture of you. So,
how the heck look at that.
This is Tim 10 years ago.
That's funny.
That's you, my friend. Which one of your daughters
I'm hoping
at Tom's house? It must be one of these two, obviously.
Jessica, the little one.
The small one is the one I met at Tom's. Okay. So there you go. Here's Tim from 10 years ago, thanks to the internet. Right? Crazy. You guys, any other questions? Anything you guys? First, I'm gonna throw it out to all you guys because there'll be a lag time. Any questions that you guys have that you want me to either drill down on, ask Tim questions, ask Tom questions? There's no one right answer, right? None of this stuff is there a right answer. However, I promise you, head in the sand only works until the shit hits the fan. Really. Just doesn't have to be expensive. You might grab it through your homeowner's insurance coverage. Who knows? However.
Hey, and Brian, let me say this. Everybody has a certain level of risk they're comfortable with, no matter what it is. So everybody's situation may be a little bit different. I promise you this. My level of risk is not the same as Sherry's, my wife. Tim, would you agree?
100%.
My wife wants everything to be completely secure, no risk whatsoever. And I'm like, let's roll the dice across the table and see what happens, guys. So, everybody, it depends on your budget. It depends on, what your comfort level is. All of that is based on your unique situation. But, to not have an opportunity to sit down and review the business that you work really hard to protect, you'd be a little bit remiss not to at least figure out where you are. And again, these are things that I'm just glad that we were able to share with everybody. It didn't cost you a dime, but it could cost you if you didn't know. So being able to share this information amongst a group is pretty important. And I just appreciate being a part of it, Brian. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for coming here, you guys. So you guys, here's what I did for everybody on the call. I was at a what holiday was that? Was it Labor Day at your house, or it was
Yep.
Labor Day? I think it was Labor Day. And anyway, in the last couple of weeks, I was at Tom's house, and Tim and Tom and I were sitting around talking, and I realized that kind of conversation, guys, this isn't about selling. This is about strategically thinking where you are today and where you're going to be tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on Jason on the next call, who's an attorney, business attorney, and the legal questions are better there than for any of us to answer. And then I'll do one more time where I'll get the CPA back on. I know it isn't cool. It isn't flashy. It isn't $1 million, but I promise you, those foundation fundamentals are so important.
Dude, it's like CE, Brian. When you do your continuing education, I mean, these are the block and tackle stuff that, as a brand new business owner, most people don't want to tell you this stuff. They don't want to spend the time to share the information that we learn. But, the thing is, everybody else that's already gone through the hard knocks and have had to learn the hard way, those are the people that I want to share and talk with. I want to find out what obstacles, when we talk about marketing, Brian, I don't know anything about marketing, but I know I don't have to because I can pick up the phone and call you. Hey, Brian, look at this. What do you think? Tom, you're an idiot. Don't do that. Okay. And I'm going to listen, So just makes good sense to share with each other like this.
Yep. Any other questions, you guys? We're chilling. It's Friday at 3:25. I'm actually in my wife's office because my office, I had ants in my office. Don't tell anybody, but I had the pest control company out, and I don't want to be in there. That has a little bit of a smell, and I'll go back on Monday. So anybody else, and we'll kind of hit it. Good discussion, Rick said. Catherine, hey Catherine. Catherine said, I hear a lot about title theft. Is that what you're saying, Catherine? Title theft? Does homeowners insurance cover that? And do you mean title like the title to your vehicle or like a home title? Maybe I don't understand, and I'm gonna pass it to Tim or Tom because I really don't know.
I don't know for sure. I think it would be the title insurance that would cover it. But
yeah, I think that's exactly the purpose of it, right? If you bought a house but somebody wasn't allowed to even sell it to you, it wasn't theirs, they stole it. I think that's what that title insurance policy you do does. Thank you, Laura Davis. Thanks for your time. Have a great weekend for you. No, I take the garbage out after lunch every day. So they're blaming me for eating lunch at my desk, which is somewhat too. You know what? I didn't even speak to them, Darcy. Talk about missed opportunities. Tom would have thought that. Darcy just asked me, did I try to land the pest control as a client? And honestly, I've had the door shut in the other office. I didn't even talk to the guys that came. That goes to show you mindset, right? My mind, I wasn't thinking. I mean, Tom, you're always about closing the deal and moving on. You guys,
hey, man, everybody's an opportunity, man.
Right? Tom, so when you got, and some of the guys know about what you do at Stone Canyon, but when you sold and got out of the automotive business, talk about this whole tiny house thing. Do you mind for 5 minutes? I think it'd be interesting, maybe fascinating for people to learn about that.
Well, it goes back to that entrepreneurial spirit. And believe me, again, my wife, Sherry, was not 100% on board with me taking another business venture. But, luckily, I built her confidence, and she's pretty much okay with it now. But, yeah, it was really cool. I was working, had the 2 car dealerships, sold them, and kind of got back in the automobile business with Zurich, and was doing some training in the dealers, trying to teach those guys how to do things right is what it was. A lot of dealerships, everybody here that deals with them knows that there's, some bad apples in dealerships, and the main thing you want to do is make sure that the dealer principal's protected, and that was what my primary job was. And one of the guys that I worked with on a regular basis, he and I developed a pretty close friendship, Casey Jackson, and he told me, he said, "Hey man, I'm thinking you're ready to get out of this corporate deal and get back into more of an entrepreneurial kind of a role." I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, I'm thinking about opening up some more tiny house dealerships." And I was like, "Tiny houses? Man, what are you, crazy?" He goes, "No, really, I'm serious." He goes, or we could buy a Ford dealership." So we talked about buying a Ford dealership. And so to give you an example, his dealership, it's a pretty small store, but he makes about $100,000 a month, about $1 million a year, give or take. But his expenses are almost almost $100,000 a month. So then he says, "I'm thinking about doing these tiny house stores." And I said, "Well, that's, again, I told him that was crazy." He goes, "Well, what do you know about them?" I said, "Well, I've seen the TV show, and everybody that fools with those things are kind of gypsies and hippies, and they pull these big weird things up and down the road." He goes, "That's nothing like what I do." So I said, "Okay, well, show me." So we go up to his dealership in Franklin, North Carolina. It's called Compact Cottage, and I was blown away. Absolutely blown. Yeah, that's them. I was absolutely blown away. I was like, "This is not what I thought."
Me too. I remember going over to the factory. I was impressed.
You came to the factory, Brian. Yeah. And I told you at the time, I said, "Dude, I could tell you what this is like all day long, but until you walk through and see it, you're never going to believe it." So, we looked at that, and from a dealer's perspective, there's about 20 grand a house profit available, and now it's even more because of the backlog of homes that are not available. So there's huge opportunity, and he was renting a space in the front of a Tractor Supply for $1,500 a month and 1 employee. And he said, "I'm selling 3 or 4 of these a month. I'm making 60 to 80 grand a month, clear minus the expenses of the employee and the lot. And of course, I did the math real quick. I said, well, we don't need another Ford dealership. We need a bunch of these. So my idea immediately went to, we got to call the factory and tell whoever owns the factory that we're going to buy every house that they can build. And we'll build a distributorship, sort of like the old Toyota model, if nobody's familiar with that. Jim Moran took Southeast Toyota and built a distributorship where you only buy Toyota from him. And so my thoughts were, we'll build dealerships, put people into businesses, franchises around the Southeast. We'll control the margin between the factory to the dealer and let the dealer make some money. We'll make some money on every house sold. And in turn, we'll train everybody and, work it that way. And so we go to the factory, meet with the lady. It's over in Brilliant, Alabama. For those of you that don't know Brilliant, Alabama, it's a little bit of an oxymoron. It's pretty close to Mississippi. It's northwest Alabama in the middle of nowhere. And the lady was 80 years old. You've been there, Brian, So the
it's 100 miles from nowhere, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to turn left once you get to nowhere. So Roberta was 80 years old at the time. And I came in and, we're sitting there talking to her. And I said, we're going to buy every house you can build. She said she can build 250 houses, so we'll buy them all. She goes, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And we kind of looked at each other and, what do you mean you're not going to do that? We just said, we will buy all you can build. She goes, I'm not interested in doing that. She goes, if you want, you can buy the factory. Well, immediately I got all excited, and Casey was a little hesitant, but, he said, well, let's go have lunch. So we went and had lunch, and we talked it over, and I told him, I said, the difference now is we're at the top level instead of a mid-level. We control everything. So we can still do what we're doing, but now we have control over the whole process. So we went back and we negotiated with her. She's funny. She goes, we tried to talk to her about what we're going to pay her. She goes, you got to pay me in cash. We're like, well, we can't pay you in cash. She goes, no, I want cash. We're not doing that. She goes, well, I've never paid taxes and I'm not going to start. So we said, well, whatever you want to do, we're not paying you in cash. This is going to be a real, a real purchase. So we finally got it hammered out, and it's kind of funny, just being guys. We're driving back from Alabama, Casey and I, and it was about an hour we were riding, and Casey looks over me. He goes, Tom. I was like, yeah. He goes, we just buy a factory? I was like, yeah. He goes, you know how to run one? I said, nope. He goes, you got to figure it out. I said, I will. And so I went back over there, and I spent about 6 weeks and just did a crash course drinking from a fire hose on how to run a big operation like that. It's 150,000 square foot warehouse space on 14 acres. So it's not a small place. And so first thing I did was I just started cleaning. Military guy. I just looked around. I said, well, everybody stop working, pick up a broom, and let's just start cleaning, see what we got. And we ended up finding enough materials to build 3 houses that were just laying around. And then my wife is a Six Sigma black belt in process improvement. And over the years, I've picked up some tips from her on how important processes are. So I put some processes in place and just, measured and changed and adjusted and did the best I could with what I had to work with. And we ended up really doing pretty well, better than we thought we were going to do. And the first year was tough, and we had to build a name and build a brand. Quality was something we weren't going to skimp on. And once we got done with that first year, we started going after campgrounds. We're now an official supplier for KOA and for Jellystone campgrounds, all the high-end RV parks in the country. Most of them carry our product. Right now, I think we've got a 78 house backlog.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy, but, yeah, it's fun, something different. I never did it, and took a step out there and just, through hard work and putting the right people in place and trusting everybody that we put there, we've really made it work. So we're pretty proud of it.
You guys, on a related note, a couple years ago, I started sending a lot of traffic, internet stuff, and helped them, and was doing some stuff. And some of the members, some guys got involved. I can tell you I won't name any names, but there are a couple people that are getting paid because of the internet marketing they're doing, selling these tiny houses over and over and over again. They're getting several $1,000 pops repeatedly. And it's pretty genius. There was a guy out in Portland, I won't name any names, but there's a guy out on the West Coast just crushing it out. And I know he's still involved today working with you, Tom.
He is. Does a great job for us. He really does.
Well, everybody, I mean, it goes to show you, right? Your internet marketing is super valuable. You can do so many things with it. Work for clients, this AMM model I've been doing. You can do lead gen for insurance, but at a core level, just get your business set up. Don't skimp on yourself, right? Don't skimp a few $100 setting up the LLC, right? The savings you're going to get pre-tax doing different things, right, will pay you back 10 times over, if not way more. And then on the insurance side, I don't know what I don't know, but I know that if you're one of the 80% people that said you didn't have any insurance in your business, right? I don't sell insurance, but I also am very keenly aware of risk. And you're putting yourself at a very real risk. You're not going to hear that on any other webinar. Most internet marketers would never tell you this kind of stuff. But you know what? They live in fantasy land. They do. And I don't mean any disrespect to those people, but it's not always about the money. It's also about protecting yourself, your family, your employees, your assets, and what you're building. So just be smart about it is all I'm saying, right? Don't neglect, don't skimp. Doesn't mean you have to buy 8 policies before you can do business. That's not true. But you know what? You should talk to somebody. You should get some info, bounce your personal situation off somebody. You can hit up my friend Tim. And if you don't hit up Tim, hit up somebody. Meet with somebody, right? And ask those hard questions, because you don't want to be where Tom and I were. You don't want to be talking to a deputy about the damage caused by a stolen vehicle. You don't want somebody saying you caused irreparable damage to their business because of some marketing you did. Now, odds are pretty low that that's true, but they can sue you over anything, especially if you take lawyer clients. I bet David Perkins has some stories. But listen, just be smart. It's Friday. It's the end of the day. It's almost happy hour, at least here on the East Coast. And I see a few friends in England. I bet you need insurance in England as well, you guys. I know you do. So just be smart. Anything else? Guys, yep, I'll make a replay stand and I'll send them out. Rick said this would be a really good course in training.
Who said that earlier, Brian?
I know. Yeah, I'll shoot it out, you guys. Are the tiny houses in remote places? Tom, Christine wants to know about the tiny houses, and Doug wants to know if they're mobile. Do you mind telling? I don't want to steal your thunder.
I'll tell you real quick. Yeah, they weigh about 50,000 pounds. So these are not, they're considered RVs, which is strange, but that's just the classification. They deliver just like a mobile home, but they're not mobile home quality. These are built just like a regular house. You start with a steel structural frame, and then you frame the house with 2x4s, 2x6s. There's no sheetrock whatsoever. Everything is lumber and wood in these things. They're built like a tank. We actually had one that went through Hurricane Michael down in Panama City, Florida, and the guy sent me pictures. He just couldn't say enough good stuff about our house. I'm not saying they're hurricane proof, but his did make it through Michael, and it was in Panama City. So that was a pretty good tribute for us. The biggest problems that we've suffered is how do I pay for it and where do I put it? Zoning, they're becoming a lot more lenient than they were when we first started, but they don't know what they don't know. And when you go in, you talk to them about tiny house, they're like, oh, I saw the TV show. I don't want that in my backyard. It's like, well, that's not exactly what we do. So you guys can see that slide that Brian was showing earlier. That's one of the developments that we have. It's called Sugar Mill Creek up at Lake Burton in North Georgia. And, with the rock and the stone and, they're permanently set there. So it's not something you're going to hook and pull and move around too much. It's going to be, it's going to be there, and it's going to, as a matter of fact, the Jackson, the one that you see that he's got up now is a 2.5 bed. It's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, and 400 square feet. And it's got a double loft. The interior of this thing is insane. There, yeah, you can see the pictures of it now.
Yeah, it's super cool, you guys. I had no idea until I went and saw him. I met him. I blew off for a day. I drove over, checked his stuff out.
You did. You admitted you blew me off. You thought I was selling you some snake oil or something. So Brian and I have been buddies for a long time. And that's the first day I told him about this, and he's like, "Well, no, dude, you really got to come check it out."
Yeah, I wanted to say Tom's bigger than me, and I'm not gonna be too out there, but I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. And then I started looking into it, and I'm like, wow, that's genius. And it's
they're freaking houses, man. They're literally or houses. Everything is full size. The appliances, everything's full size. The showers are full size.
Hey, cool. Tim, somebody asked, is there ever a time that an agent, and this is Darcy's like, is there ever a time an agent would say, hey, you don't need insurance? Do you ever tell people you're good or you don't need it?
Of course. Yeah, and from my perspective, I'm financial planner first, insurance second. So the fiduciary responsibility, me doing what's right for you before anything else, goes through the entire business. So if you don't need something, if it's written to include X, Y, and Z that's costing you something, we'll tell you don't need it. We're a for-profit business, but we don't need to make all our money on you. It's a pretty simple thing.
Hey, I got two questions. First one is to Tom, or actually I got two for Tom. One from Rick. Rick said, man, they'd be great to make to rent out to college students. Do you have anybody using them as rentals or anything like that, Tom?
We've talked to colleges. We actually got a plan that we went approaching colleges with. I think it's pretty ingenious. So what I wanted to do was get with the college, and we're working with one right now to try to see if we can make it work, and have them set aside a community area for college housing, because right now there is no housing for college kids. It's tough. So what you do is the college donates the property, gets it developed, you put the houses in, you have the alumni buy the houses. So for instance, if Brian goes to Clemson University and is an alumni, and you have the Brian Anderson house in the community, do you think any of the other alumni would be willing to have their somebody else is going to have their house in there as well? So you pressure the alumni, and I mean, you're talking about people that give hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Let's say they spend $70,000 and put a house in there with their name on it, and then any of the rent goes back to the college as a rev share, actually full rev share back to the college for donations. So that's kind of what we've done there. But again, it goes back to the zoning and the problems going on with that. But yeah, that's our great ideas too.
Michael asked if they can be made, or are there any versions that you accessible?
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And it's ADA compliant. The term handicap accessible is really good. Some people say, can it be handicapped? Can you make it a handicap accessible house? Well, you can only do so much in anything, because the book is like a telephone book. If you looked at it, I don't know that you could, from a construction perspective, it's really tough to meet all the handicap accessible. You're not going to get a stamp, for instance. They're not going to come out and say, okay, well, yeah, this qualifies as a handicap house. So, putting a 2x6 behind the shower to mount the grab bars and things of that nature, making sure the counter heights are where they're supposed to be, the roll unders for sinks to make sure that the drains in the hot water doesn't touch somebody's legs. There's just a lot of stuff you can do, but absolutely, we offer handicap accessible stuff for those houses.
Tom, Stan's asking, are they equivalent in width to like a single wide or a double wide in terms of like a mobile home?
So they're all 400 square feet, so that we keep the certification as an RV. So they're either 12 wide or 14 wide.
Is that why all tiny houses on TV on Home Garden are always 400 or less?
Yep. That's because the qualification.
Every tiny house is always in that 350 to 400 range.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. And all right, here's a question for Tim. Tim, I got one from Rick and then one from David. But Rick said, Tim, what do you look for? What should he look for in an advisor to find one that is customer first, as you said a minute ago when you were speaking? Is there any way to kind of tell someone that's going to have that same mentality, maybe fee-based versus commission, David asked? Any comments on those kind of things?
Yeah, typically you're going to look at it and say, are they a CFP, ChFC, like I am, those type of things? You've taken a fiduciary oath with those organizations. But if you are investment advisor, registered investment advisor, you are by law required to put the customer first. Now, that's kind of cool, all said and done, but there's as many snakes, as there are anywhere. So you got to go in and meet the person. You need to talk to them and say, tell me a time when you, like as the point before, tell me a time when you didn't do something for someone, when you told them no, and why. Let me understand your investment philosophy, because if you go in and every solution has insurance or every solution has annuities or something like that, you're not talking to someone that's a fiduciary. Excuse me, you're talking to somebody that is looking out for their own interest, and you know what? They know these products, so that's what they use. It's really a lot of give and take, a lot of conversations.
So Tim, do you lock into certain products because of commission, or do you just try to figure out what maps to the person? I imagine it's the second one, but.
Well, I don't have commissions, so that's out. I'm fee only.
Like, all right, just so I didn't understand that one. So you don't have commission. So do you do like a fee-based model? Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always fee-based, with the exception of if we do some insurance products, there's commissions built in, but you're always aware of that because, again, by law, I have to tell you of potential conflicts of interest. So if I'm making money from an insurance sale, I have to tell you that. So you're looking at those type of things. But if you're with somebody with a commission base, it doesn't make it bad automatically. You have to take a look at it and say, what do you need? And this is where I've told people I don't want to do their business. If they want to buy and sell a couple stocks here and there, that's not for me. That's for a commission guy, because I'm going to charge you too much. You can go online and do that. And I've helped people set up online accounts before. You just got to look at it and figure out what's right. There's no set investment strategy, if you will, no bucket of investments that's right for everybody. So there's one company in our industry, big one, that almost always you can tell which funds they're going to use. There's 5 or 6 funds. They're almost every policy or every investment statement you see coming through that's going to transfer or looking to transfer, going to have those funds. It's like in different proportions. It's like, how is that possibly right for everybody? It just isn't. So, you can't have 400 different funds that you know enough about to put money in, but there has to be enough for all sorts of different situations. You have to take risk into consideration, as we've talked about, both what is said and what is tested. You have to look at as well the plan.
Hey Tim, let me say something real quick. So what Tim's talking about doing and how things are works with him, I personally can tell you that I was blown away by, I just threw everything and said, here, Tim, take care of this. And he says, no, you've got to fill all this information out. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do all this. Well, it was actually pretty impressive when we got done, because we did a free flowing kind of I guess it's the financial plan, right, Tim, that we did? Is that what you call it?
Yep.
So we give Tim all the information for my wife and I. And it's funny, he has all these quiz kind of questions. And once we get done, he prints all the stuff up out of the log, out of the formulas and everything that he has, and it goes out in a booklet. We sit down and we go over it together. And he says, okay, you're an idiot when it comes to risk. Your wife is smarter than you are. We're going to follow what she says. And it's pretty much true to the nature of what I think and what she thinks. And we were able to look at that. And like he says, not everything is perfect for everybody. And again, I let Tim handle all my stuff, but the reason he handles it the way he does is based on what our comfortability is with the amount of risk we're able to be okay with. So I want to share that, Tim, because I thought that was pretty cool. The tools that you use, when you're talking about everybody has different levels of comfortable risk, you're able to kind of dig that out with that tool that you use with us to figure out where we were comfortable. So I just thought that was kind of neat.
Hey, and Tom, I hope you don't mind. I put your email up at the Stone Canyon. There are a bunch of people asking questions. Van Fowler, hit up Tom. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole right now, but shoot those tiny house questions over to Tom, you guys. If there's an opportunity, I see some of you on veterans and lending programs, reach out to Tom. He'll be happy to help you. And I don't want to go too far off base. Hey, Tim, here was a question from Kurt, and it was he was asking about a Dave Ramsey. What do you think about the Dave Ramsey endorsed local providers that Dave Ramsey recommends? Any thoughts? I don't know much about it, but any thoughts on them?
I do. Yeah, I was a endorsed provider at one point. Unfortunately, my location is right at the end between Augusta and Atlanta, so I was getting almost nothing from it. I think those are people that are going to absolutely look to take care of you first. They do a pretty good job of vetting. They make sure that you're not a whole life annuity selling machine. If it's got to be personalized process that gets you what you need long term. Some of the things that Dave Ramsey says and does, they're fantastic for beginners and people that are trying to dig out of debt emotionally. They don't make sense in other ways. So you kind of got to take the good with the bad. But it's a great spot to start and look. You can also go to a company called Smart Asset. That's one I do as well. It's a really good program there, and just understand. And I'm going to little plug for those companies just to make sure you understand how they work. When you fill out that stuff online, we pay for the lead, so please accept our calls.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're paying whether they take it or not, huh?
Correct.
All right, so guys, I think we hit every question. I encourage you, reach out to Tim. You can tell he's a straight shooter. I like that about him. You can email him, you can call him, and or you can text him, and then he'll probably see if you can chat on the phone at some point. It's a personal discussion more than a blanket discussion. And all the stuff on the tiny houses, there's like 15 of you hitting me with stuff. Please shoot Tom an email. He's the guy. I mean, he's the man. Part owner and VP of sales, and he'll take care of you on those questions. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. We'll never end the call.
Yep. Oh, we could talk tiny houses forever, man. It never ends. So yeah, like Brian said, just shoot me an email if you guys have questions. I'll be glad to address anything that you have.
Awesome. Well, listen, Tim, thank you very much for coming here and being open and transparent. Tom, as always, thanks, man. And everybody here, thank you guys. It was good. This is just a good, call it a round table. We're sitting around, we're talking, we're strategizing, we're sharing. There was good input from everybody, good feedback. I love Kurt's question about Dave Ramsey, the commission versus fee question. I like that from David, Rory. There were so many good questions, Darcy, and these are just the ones that I see on my screen right now. Guys, thank you for
Brian,
coming.
Can we do more of these? Can we do more of these with some subject matter experts? Thank you, Tim, for coming on. We appreciate that. And like you said, your lawyer guy, we get him on, maybe a CPA, and just share some of this stuff, man. This is like the fundamental, really meat and potatoes kind of stuff that everybody needs to look at and hear and answer questions that may not get answered. So I mean, I think we need to do more of them.
Yeah, I love it. You guys, tell me what you think. Is this kind of call and conversation useful? I enjoy this kind of stuff, but I don't know you tell me, if you don't mind for a second, and then we'll end with that, you guys. Yeah, BSing, right? Yeah, it's chatting. You guys, we're hanging out. We're talking. There's not always the right answer, and like Tim said, no, I don't do that. Nope, I sure don't know. I don't do that. Right? It's a straight scoop.
Well, and hey, man, let me ask you a question, Brian. You asked me when you came out here to the lake, hey, man, who do I need to use for my lawn? Who do I need to use if I got a tree down, right?
Yep.
Why is that? Because you trust me, right?
I trust you, and I know you know.
Okay. And how many people on this call, if somebody has a question, hey, I know a guy, or hey, I know somebody, or you can refer me to this person. I mean, that's one of the biggest things about having, these kind of networks, is to make sure that we take care of each other too. So I love it, man. I really do.
Yeah. You guys, if you don't know, I have a house near where Tom and Tim live, just to cut me, I don't know, maybe 2 miles from Tom. Tim, I don't know exactly how far to your place, but I know it's pretty close. And I've been needing all kind of work done, right? I'm having to do some fixer-up kind of stuff and deferred maintenance. Tom knows every contractor in the area. And then what had me laughing is just when I thought Tom was the expert, I find out that Tim's on the board of the homeowners association. So Tim knows, not the homeowners, home builder, right?
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Planning and zoning.
It was hilarious. Oh, there you go. I knew it. Awesome, you guys. Love it. Listen, everybody. Yeah, this is great. Tony Jones loved it. Good feedback, you guys. All right. With that being said, y'all have a great Friday. Tim and Tom, talk to y'all soon, and everybody else, see you guys. Hopefully we chat, if not over the weekend, on Monday. Take care.
Are you out here this weekend,
boring
Brian?
insurance.
Monday night, I'm coming out, Tom, Monday, and I'm going home Tuesday night. I got a delivery, some mattresses and stuff coming on Tuesday. I don't know if you got time to get a beer on Monday night or something.
Absolutely. We can do it. Let's meet at the bistro.
Yep. All right. Done. All right. That sounds good. All right. I'll text you. See you guys. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Later, guys.
Bye.